Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Eric Chilton. The whole crew with you today. Stacy, Monique, Lauren, and Aaron. Welcome to all of you watching the 45. I wanted Lauren to read it so badly. She reads this every day.
Not today.
I know. She passed it on to me. Inside jokes. Watching us right here on WFMI News 2. Don't forget Fire Stick, Roku, and the WFMI News 2 app. That's on your TV, phone, or tablet.
And we're also live on Facebook, so if you're joining us there, make sure you hop in the comment section, give us a shout, let us know that you're here.
Well, we've got a lot to cover today, so let's go ahead and jump right into your top news headlines.
This time last week, we were on air with harrowing details about a shooting at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. At the time, we didn't know how many people were hurt, but we waited for a press conference, holding our breath for the best.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was the worst that proved true. 19 children, 2 teachers gunned down in their classroom. The second deadliest elementary school shooting in our nation's history.
7 days later, the wound remains fresh as people begin the difficult process of burying their loved ones.
I wake up every morning and the first thing I do is cry because I know that it's real.
For the family of Ava Morales, the nightmare continues. Her sister Maggie now facing the most overwhelming of tasks, picking out the last dress she'll ever wear.
That was the hardest thing that I've ever had to do in my life.
Family members briefed by police say Ava and her co-teacher Irma Garcia both died shielding their children from a gunman who stormed into their classrooms and opened fire, killing 19 of their students.
I'm sure they didn't even think about what they were doing twice. They just did it.
The dog lover, mother, and wife to a police officer was finishing her 17th year of teaching. She loved doing CrossFit, hiking, and bonding with her loved ones in nature. As the shooting unfolded, a family member texted Ava in a group chat asking if she was okay. There was no response.
I never in my dreams thought that my sister was not going to make it.
Maggie is now fighting for gun control. She says she met Texas Governor Greg Abbott and urged him to tighten regulations.
There's no reason why this type of weapon should be among us. Governor Abbott said that he would be working on laws to change these things, and I expect to see that.
But in the meantime, Ava's family is trying to figure out how to navigate life without her.
I want everybody to remember her and remember that she was a hero.
Ava was 44 years old. Her body will be put to rest a week from Friday after the funerals of all of her students. We've also learned that the Department of Justice is launching a critical review. Keep in mind, this is not a criminal investigation. It's actually a process by which they learn lessons for the future in order to understand exactly what took law enforcement 75 minutes to enter the classroom and stop the shooter.
As families grapple with the loss of young lives in Texas, further north, hearts bleed for community members gunned down in New York. Just over 2 weeks have passed since the mass shooting at a grocery store in Buffalo. The traumatized neighborhood is desperately trying to heal and move forward. To help cope with the pain, some people are holding discussions on the future of the grocery store.
I would like to see a memorial, something to remember them by, but I would like to see the Tops moved across the street because everybody I talk to, they're not coming back to Tops no more.
I think that they should close it.
There's nothing around here, so we need this Tops. And again, if they close it, then where will the elderly people go?
Tops is the only major grocery store in its area. It provides fresh food access to nearby families, what would otherwise be a food desert. Many politicians, including New York State Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, fought for it to open. Officials say they do plan on reopening the store, but the timeline is unknown.
Right now, a group of bipartisan senators is working behind the scenes to find common ground on new gun control legislation. Republican Senator John Cornyn and Democratic Senator Chris Murphy met today to carve out a basic framework on gun reform proposals. The two sides discuss closing background check loopholes and a red flag law allowing judges to take guns away from people deemed to be a risk. Aside from the meeting in the Senate, the House is also preparing a gun reform package. They expect it to be ready next week.
Right now, we're learning more about a crash that killed 2 children in the Triad. Law enforcement say it happened yesterday, just after midnight in Asheboro. Troopers say Ashley Caldwell Crandell tried to exit I-73 near Sparrow Road. That's when she hit a sign and then a tree. The children were sitting in the back seat and they died at the scene. Right now, the driver is recovering in a hospital. Investigators do believe speed was a factor. Highway Patrol says charges are pending.
Now let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Today is Greensboro Police Chief Ryan James's last day on the job. He's been with the department for 26 years and has been chief since 2020. He's now taking over UNC's police department. Teresa Biffle will serve as the interim chief of the department as they search for a replacement. She served for GPD for 27 years. Well, right now we are keeping a close eye on rising COVID-19 cases in Guilford County. The latest data shows a 21.8 positivity rate. That means 1 in 5 tests are coming back positive. An increase of more than 4 times of the county's goal is 5%, which is the red line that is on the graphs that we typically show you. The last time we saw the numbers this high was back at the end of January when Omicron fueled another wave. We'll have your next weekly update tomorrow afternoon. Well, today the city of Winston-Salem resumed application acceptance for pandemic recovery grants. The grants reimburse eligible expenses for small businesses and nonprofits that fell behind due to the pandemic. The deadline to apply is June 24th.
Monique, I've been drinking water all day long just to make sure I don't pass out in this summer like heat today.
Yes, it's extremely important that we are all staying hydrated, not today, but also even tomorrow. This is a look back at yesterday where we were up in the upper 80s. 87 was that high temperature in Greensboro. Today, we're not too far away from it, but we are warmer. 89 in Greensboro for the high so far today. Also the same temperature there in Winston-Salem. Asheboro at 88 and Burlington getting to see 91. It has been a very, very hot afternoon. And as we continue through this week, these temperatures are only going to get hotter. This is a look at Burlington. We have those very few cumulus clouds out there. That 91 still sitting. We're getting these winds out of the west-southwest, and the humidity isn't really too bad. It could be worse, and actually I'm expecting it to get a little bit worse as we move through this week as those dew points climb into the upper 60s. So for tomorrow, even warmer than today, and that sun sticking with us. Upper 80s, low 90s as we look to the foothills, and then as we zoom on over to the central Piedmont, 90s again. 90, 90, 90. That's what we're seeing on this forecast map for tomorrow. So it is going to be a very hot day. So far this year, we've had 2 days, specifically in Greensboro, with 90 degrees. Last year, we were able to end things off by the end of August at 39 days with 90. So we're just getting started. The heat is just cranking up. And like Lauren said, it's very important that all of us stay hydrated, but also wear our sunscreen as that sun continues to shine. And especially for the day tomorrow, it's going to be a hot one. More details on your full forecast, including some storm chances coming up.
You know, being in a local band is just the start, but getting recognized, that takes time and talent. But one Greensboro band, they're off to an incredible start by being nominated for a huge statewide music award. This is really cool. I caught up with frontman Jeremy Roberts to talk about his band, We Rise to Fall, that's their name, and the big time opportunity in front of them as North Carolina's potentially best rock band. Well, if you know anything about music, you know awards are a big deal, and this one in particular. Jeremy with me this afternoon, and I mean, this is a cool thing you guys are up for. Tell me about it.
Yes, sir. We're up for the 2022 Carolina Music Awards Rock Band of the Year Award, and it's a pretty big deal. Governor Cooper actually made it a statewide holiday. The month of August is Carolina Music Awards month,
and this awards came up with some pretty legendary people that put this together, right?
Yeah, some of the early co-founders were Darius Rucker from Hootie and the Blowfish, Roberta Flack, and Randy Travis.
And so what does this mean to you guys as far as clout, I guess?
It's just an honor to be amongst so many other great, talented North Carolina bands, and just to be mentioned amongst those other bands is a big honor to us.
What about putting your band together? I mean, that's a hard thing to do. How long have you guys been together, and how did you get together?
This band started about 3 years ago, and we've had a couple member changes throughout this time, but you know, we've got a good solid lineup now, and we're just making steady progress, and it's been fun.
How would you describe the sound? Because everybody always says, what do you sound like? You don't want to sound like somebody else, but yeah.
We, you know, like I always tell everybody, we have a sound for everybody. We have like ballady type music, and we have some heavier hitting songs also, so we try to cater to everyone.
Now you're the front guy, so there's a lot of pressure on the front guy always. How do you take that?
You know, just take it every day, and every day is a blessing. You know, every time we get to go out, and if there's 5 people there or 5,000, it's just a blessing to be in front of people and people enjoying our music. So just stay humble and interact and have a good time.
You got to get out there with the crowd too. You got to get them going. Yeah. All right. So we'll tell you a little bit more about this band. Really cool stuff going on in August. Is the award? Is that right?
August 6th. Yes.
We'll be watching. Yes, we will, and they have made a name for themselves. You can go online and look up this Carolina Music Awards. It is, as he mentioned, Roberta Flack, Randy Travis, and Darius Rucker were instrumental in putting this together. It's 15 years old, I believe, and if you win, it's really just the recognition, but if they win, they are, by this award, the best rock band in the state.
And there's thousands of nominees,
yeah.
correct? And
Yes.
like thousands of votes. So this is a really big deal that they've made it this far.
And it's cool because tomorrow we're going to show you their lead guitarist is a female, and she talked about how hard that was. So we're going to feature her and talk a little bit about
That's
her,
really
her
cool.
life story.
I love when I see guitarists or drummers that are women in bands. I just think that's really cool. So if you could compare their music to some other mainstream band, how would you
So he
compare it?
kind of said, off camera we were talking about that, and he said, we're really kind of old school hard rock, but he said we throw a little metal in, not a lot. But
so
he
they're
said
like,
yeah, he
like
said
getting
there's
into
a
it.
little
There you
bit of
go.
that. Yeah,
I don't want to shake my head too much.
They don't want to be called.
Don't want to mess up your hair.
That's right. They don't want to be called a metal band, but they're a hard rock band. But he said with a touch of metal and then a lot of like southern rock mixed in.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting. I don't know how you classify.
So to make it this far, to be, you know, recognized as the best band in North Carolina, it's surprising that they're not mainstream. Because this is a pretty big state with a lot of, you know, listening ears.
And it's all just local, right? None of these people have record contracts yet.
Okay.
So it's kind of on the way up.
Oh.
So maybe they could get one
Maybe
if they
this-
win.
That's right. That's right.
This
Watch
could be their
tomorrow.
break.
We'll show you the guitarist. We'll be back.
with the summertime in the triad, we're often talking about the temperatures, but also the humidity. When you walk outside and everyone starts talking about how sticky it is, how you always just want to take a shower, that's the humidity, and that's owed to the dew points. These right now are in the low 60s, so we're kind of bordering that comfortable to humid range, so it really doesn't feel that bad today. But as we go over the next couple of hours, you will see how these dew point numbers change. When these dew points start to ride up around those mid to upper 60s, even the low 70s, that's when it starts to feel uncomfortable. And that's going to be the case tonight. A lot of folks are starting to see this transition where overnight it feels a little bit more muggier, stickier, and warmer. During the day it is hot, but in the afternoon we're starting to see that increase. Same story for tomorrow, as some locations will be dealing with some stickier conditions, and especially for the early part of your Thursday, where we're going to be having that cold front crossing our area, leading to some possibility of storms. Before we get to all of that, temperatures for tonight sticking in those upper 60s with a light southwest wind, and some locations could be dealing with some patchy fog before that sunshine comes out and breaks it up. Now, like I said, I've yet to talk about the storms for Thursday, but I'll be breaking all of that soon. And yes, I have not shown you the 7-day yet either, but I've got you covered. We're talking nice, beautiful weather for this upcoming weekend, and it's going to be less humid. Talking all about it more coming up.
The greatest show on earth is making a comeback. Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus announced they'll debut a new show in 2023, but this time there will be no lions, tigers, or balancing elephants. There's actually not going to be any animals at all. They say audiences can look forward to a new 360-degree experience with world-class acrobatics. This new technology allowing the audience to really feel like that they're part of the show. The circus closed its curtains in 2017 after struggling with declining attendance and activists arguing about the animals' treatment. So I asked you on my Facebook page to tell me about a time that you've been to the circus. Dwayne writes, the last time we were at the circus was 2011 when Jack was almost 4. He actually took a picture of them there. You can go check it out on my Facebook page of them with the elephants. Jan says, the last time I went, they actually had animals, LOL. And Donna says, never liked the circus, too loud and scary for me. I've been 3 times in my long life. The poor animals were bothering me too. Felt so sorry for them. And then I mentioned the time, I remember I think I must have been in kindergarten, and my parents took me to the circus, the Ringling Brothers one, and my dad was one of the people that got picked to be like, you know, part of the show. And so he had to stand out there with his arms like this, and they threw rings and they went onto his arms from a distance. It was so cool. So that's my circus memory from the past.
You had down low seats then for them to pick him, right? Or did
I must have.
That's fun.
I don't know.
That's pretty awesome.
That was pre-Little Brother, so I got what I wanted back then.
What about you?
I was never really into it that much as a kid, but the one time I did go, I like the acrobatic stuff and the motorcycle and the cage and all that better than the animals anyway, because I felt sorry in some ways for them, especially when they cracked the whip. You know, I didn't like that. And so now I'd go back.
Yeah, I'm just always amazed about how they're able to do all these things. And some of these people are families, and the kids have been doing this since they were like 2 or 3. I think that would be so awesome to grow up in a family like that. But I've actually never been to the circus, but I've always wanted to go to the Universal Circus.
Yes, that's fun.
They've had tickets. I've seen tickets in the different areas that I've lived, but I definitely want to check them out because they have people all over the world that come and perform with them.
I was wondering if this was going to kind of turn into a Cirque du Soleil type event.
It might,
that's what it seems like it's going to somewhat be like.
Which is still very much so entertaining. You
know,
even without the animals.
I've been to 2 of those like big time ones, and they are incredible.
So cool.
Yeah,
maybe we can all go to one together.
Oh yeah, group date.
It's on our list, which gets longer every day. We'll be right back.
We got to Today is National Smile Day, a day that encourages everyone to wear their best smile. So I asked you on my Facebook page, what makes you smile? Helen Whitaker says, my son and husband. Rocky Butler wrote, my kids and just enjoying life to the fullest with a smile while I'm doing it during these times. Reggie Smith said, waking up every day. Mikey Simon, my credit score. Yeah, that's definitely something to smile about. Denise Hill said, grandchildren. And JD Davis being off of work for 6 days. That sounds nice too.
That works.
I'm in need of a vacation myself.
Next big one coming up?
I got some time.
You got some time.
Okay.
I would say my kids, because they have good senses of humor, and I love it when little ones start to become old enough to have that they're witty, then it cracks me up. So I love that.
Yeah, I'm obviously gonna say my daughter.
Yes.
She just always makes me smile, especially when I come home from work and she sees them there and she just gets this big grin on her
I
face
love
and
it.
she crawls as fast as she can to me, and that just always makes me smile.
Oh, I love that. I would have to say just knowing my family's alive and healthy, and also you guys, the viewers, you guys make me happy. You know, when you send me comments and Facebook messages and emails about certain stories that I post, it lets me know that I'm doing good, even on days when it gets quite stressful.
It is funny because with this job, we talk to this inanimate object every day, and you know, sometimes it becomes a routine and you're like, wait a minute, there are people on the other side, and when you guys reach out, we know that you're there.
Yeah, love it. So get on Facebook and chat
Yes.
with us, because we love to talk to you.
That's right. Let's go ahead and get to our U Day moment for today. Coach Lamont also has a lesson on kindness today. Listen as he shares the story of a little boy and the power of generosity.
A 10-year-old boy entered a diner and sat at a table. A waitress approached the table. The boy asked, how much is an ice cream sundae? 50 cents, she replied. The little boy pulled out a number of coins and began to count. How much is a dish of just plain ice cream, he asked. The waitress, growing impatient, said with aggravation, 35 cents. The little boy again counted the coins. I'll have the plain ice cream, he said. The waitress brought the ice cream, put the bill on the table and walked away. The boy finished the ice cream, paid the cashier, and departed. The waitress then proceeded to wipe down the table and was saddened by what she discovered, a tip of 15 cents. This proves that even the smallest thought is the greatest reward. This is Coach Lamont. Make today your best U Day. I'll see you tomorrow.
Now I want some ice cream.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Made me think like that waitress could be nicer.
Absolutely.
Man. That little boy's doing the best he can.
First thing I thought of was kill them with kindness.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with certain people that might give you a little attitude or get a little frustrated, you know, you just kill them with a little bit of kindness. I'm not saying that's what this young man did, but that's what that story made me think of.
Well, I have seen, so when I was in high school, I saw this, not the exact same thing play out, but I saw a little kid counting money for bubble gum. I don't remember what he was buying, but I remember he didn't have it all. And he got to whatever it was with the money and he went like this. And the lady behind the counter was like, oh, honey. And the guy behind him said, I got him.
Oh, I love it
And
when that happens.
That's what should have happened.
And a lot of times the person at the counter will be like, if you need something's like $1.10 and
They'll
you
take
have
care of
$2
it.
Yeah,
and
don't worry
they'll be like, don't worry about it, here's
Yep.
10 cents.
Yeah,
You know.
I mean, it's just so important to realize, like, you never know what's going on the other side. You don't know what people are going through. She didn't know that he was trying to figure out, okay, how can I tip you today, you know? And so it's just important to just always treat people with kindness when you can.
Absolutely.
I'm a softie when kids are involved. I can't say no. Don't
Ice
tell-
cream on Eric for everyone.
Don't tell my kids that. We'll be right back. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Eric Chilton, joined alongside Stacy Spivey, Monique Robinson, Lauren Coleman. We're all here. Welcome to all of you watching right here on WFMY News 2. Also, don't forget Fire Stick, Roku, and our News 2 app.
And hello to everybody watching us from Facebook. Make sure you jump in the comments, chat with us in between the breaks.
Well, we've got a lot to cover today, so let's go ahead and jump right into your top news headlines.
This time last week, we were on air working to find out details surrounding a shooting at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas.
It was a difficult day, and as the day developed, we discovered 19 children and 2 teachers were gunned down in their classroom, the second deadliest elementary school shooting in our nation.
7 days later, the wound remains fresh as people begin the difficult process of burying their loved ones.
2 10-year-old girls were laid to rest today. They're the first of 21 funerals that will take place in the coming days.
Officers with Customs and Border Patrol came to the memorial today outside Robb Elementary School to lay a wreath, many clearly shaken. Actor Matthew McConaughey also stopped by. He grew up in Uvalde. 9 more funerals are planned for this week. The rest take place in the weeks to come.
As families grapple with the loss of young lives in Texas, a community in New York continues to ache from a similar pain. Just over 2 weeks have passed since the mass shooting at a grocery store in Buffalo. The traumatized neighborhood is desperately trying to heal and move forward. Meanwhile, there are some discussions on the future of the grocery store. Many want it closed down and memorialized, while others emphasize its importance of giving people access to fresh food. Tops is the only major grocery store in its area and serves a community that would otherwise be a food desert. Right now, they do intend on remodeling the store, but they're not sure when it will reopen.
Right now, a group of bipartisan senators are working behind the scenes to find common ground on new gun control legislation. Republican Senator John Cornyn and Democratic Senator Chris Murphy met today to carve out basic framework on gun reform proposals. The 2 sides discussed closing background check loopholes and a red flag law allowing judges to take guns away from people deemed to be a risk. Aside from the meeting in the Senate, the House is also preparing a gun reform package. They expect it to be ready next week.
Now let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Today is Greensboro Police Chief Brian James's last day on the job. He's been with the department for 26 years and has been chief there since 2020. He's now going to take over UNC's police department. Teresa Biffle will serve as the interim chief of the Greensboro Police Department as they continue to search for a replacement. She served with GPD for 27 years. Right now, the Greensboro City Council is considering the largest budget ever proposed. It's for the upcoming fiscal year and totals out to nearly $690 million. The city manager says money will boost future investments. Recently, our area witnessed deals with major companies like Toyota, Lidl, and Boom Supersonic. Officials say the budget proposal helps keep business moving like those thriving.
Right now, people are being cautioned against purchasing snacks from vending machines, convenience stores, and supermarkets. Experts say the Jif peanut butter salmonella recall is growing. You should double check before consuming baked goods, sandwiches, and candies. According to the CDC, the number of infected people is now at least 16 people across 12 states. You can find a list of the affected products in a recall on WFMYnews2.com. In case you missed it, you'll want to check your produce drawer. The FDA is investigating a hepatitis A outbreak, possibly linked to organic fresh strawberries. The agency reports more than a dozen cases in California, Minnesota, and North Dakota, with at least a dozen people hospitalized. The packages were sold in March and April at Walmart, Trader Joe's, and other stores. The FDA says the fruit has reached its shelf life, but if you froze those berries, go ahead and throw them out.
We're not seeing rain today, but that could change in the next 48 hours. We're seeing dry time, temperatures very warm, cooling down to the upper 60s, but not really feeling too cool out there. And then as we continue through your Wednesday, by the afternoon, we could see some slight shower chances. I mean, in the afternoon in the summer, it is possible almost every day. So that's going to be the case for your Wednesday. No severe storms for tomorrow. In fact, most of you may not see nothing at all, but just some heat. As we go through the day on Thursday, things will certainly change. As we can see that ahead of a cold front moving in, we will potentially get some strong showers and storms. So here's a look at your full 7-day, showing you those temperatures getting very hot over the next 2 days. So you could see those temperatures staying very warm, and then we're looking at some storm chances possible on your Thursday. So switching gears as we look to Hurricane Agatha. The first hurricane of the 2022 hurricane season, made landfall yesterday afternoon near Puerto Angel, Mexico. Agatha made history as the strongest hurricane in the Eastern Pacific to make landfall during the month of May. It was a Cat 2 when it moved ashore, but quickly weakened as it moved over the mountains in southern Mexico. Overflowing roads, flooded homes and stores, submerged vehicles, flash flooding, and mudslides. Just devastating conditions for the start of the busy season. Now, to be clear, Agatha was formed initially in the Eastern Pacific over here. This is a different ocean than the one that we often worry ourselves with here for every hurricane season, which is the Atlantic. Now, the World Meteorological Organization organizes how the naming works for any tropical cyclone, no matter what part of the globe you live on. So when something forms here in the Eastern Pacific, it follows one set of names. But when it forms in the Atlantic, it follows a different set of names. So for the first name of the 2022 hurricane season list for the Eastern Pacific is Agatha. But for the Atlantic, the first name is Alex. So once Agatha leaves the Eastern Pacific and takes a transition into this new body of water, its name has to change to the next available Atlantic name. In this case, it's Alex. This isn't common, but it does happen. Back in 2020, Hurricane Nana took on the new tropical storm Julio after exiting the Eastern Pacific and moving into the Atlantic. Now, Lauren, I hear that you've been learning more about some safety that folks at home can take when...
That is right, Monique. So the 2022 hurricane season officially kicks off tomorrow, and experts are predicting this year's season will produce an above average amount of activity in our area. So I spoke with a home health expert about what homeowners and renters can do now to minimize the risk of post-storm damage. Ryan Arnett is a certified field inspector division manager for Tar Heel Basement Systems. He says water is far more damaging than wind in our area, and that homeowners often overlook how water on their property can impact their home.
Causing water intrusion in their basement, their crawl space, or because we live in wonderful North Carolina with this wonderful clay soil, it's like building on a giant dirt sponge, and after big heavy storms, foundation settlement can happen.
Arnett says failure to keep water from building up around your property can cost you thousands of dollars.
Again, this can cause water intrusion, which can cause 1 inch of water in an area can cause up to $25,000 worth of damage to a homeowner. And unfortunately, homeowners insurance normally does not cover water due to floods and storms in the area.
Arnett says there are several ways you can prepare your home ahead of the hurricane season. Number one, review your home insurance. Like Arnett said, flooding from storms isn't typically covered by homeowners insurance. Check with your insurance agent for coverage that is available. Maintain your roof, siding, and windows. Make sure nothing is loose or in disrepair. Keep your gutters clear. Gutters and downspouts will route the water off your roof and away from your foundation. Check the foundation drainage system, so a sump pump with battery backup is essential during power outages. And write a family emergency plan. This document is fundamentally about getting to your home shelter before the storm hits. And Ready.gov provides resources you can use as a starting point for your plan. Some companies will offer free inspections and repair estimates for any issues with your basement or crawl space that need to be addressed before the hurricane or tropical storm arrives to the area.
A lot of people this far inland think, oh, I'm not worried about that, but it's flooding and tornadoes. Monique knows this, that we have to watch out for inland. We had so much flooding in some cases with Michael and Florence that went that far inland that we had power outages here.
And like you said, that water, just an inch of rain or that flooding getting into your basement or your crawl space could cost you about $25K. So you definitely want to make sure you have things in place to make sure you don't have those holes.
I mean, every single season is unlike the previous. So whatever happened last season, you really can't base it on that. Even if you're saying, oh, I've lived in North Carolina all my life, I've never seen anything like this. A lot of the storms that we've been seeing in the most recent years are storms we've never seen stuff like this happen before, especially with Hurricane Florence. I lived along the coast. I talk about it all the time, but I mean, the water was just as high to the second floor of people's homes. So your home is just gone. You have to gut the entire home out.
So even here in the Triad, is there like a kit or something that we just need to have to be ready for this?
It's not necessarily a kit that you buy, but you do have to piece it together based on kind of what we face. And just like Monique said, it's here, it's usually flooding and then isolated tornadoes. So in a lot of cases, it's simple, you know, a little bit of water and a first aid kit. And then the flooding though, there's not so much you can do on that, but that insurance note you talked about, I had pipes burst in a house once, about 2 inches of standing water in the entire downstairs, and it was $27,000 worth of damage. I mean, your insurance covers it, hopefully, if you have it, but if you don't have that type of coverage, you're in trouble.
And I know that the season, you know, goes all the way till November 30th, so even though it starts tomorrow, you still have time to do some of the things now to help save you some money.
Yeah.
Definitely call your travel agent, or not your travel agent.
And go on a vacation.
Clearly I need a vacation. We'll be right back.
Just leave.
Hello. Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together. Let's move these, yeah.
Is this a local thing story interview or is this?
No.
No, okay. So there's a program here.
There's a what?
There's a program called the GAP program in Guilford County high schools.
Yeah.
And it allows them to work on
To do that?
The same thing.
Here, I can move this over some, or I can move it the other way. Whatever way you want me to move it, friend.
Move the camera.
Or you... I don't care. Yeah. No. Signing day, you know what it looks like. Right here are just a few pictures I found on Twitter. It's such a cool thing, isn't it, to see these high school athletes. They pick their favorite schools. It's a whole big thing. They're signing stuff. They're getting the hats. They're getting the t-shirt. It is all good. But what I want to do is I want to stop on this one that I saw on Twitter earlier today. It's a little unusual. It's a high school graduate. Here we go to the end. Let's go. Okay, it's this one right here. So this is a high school graduate who didn't sign with a college, but she signed with an HVAC company. It's a signing day that may become more common in the future. I want you to check this out. This is Jacob Bradley. He always knew he wanted to go into a trade, and he had a special signing at his high school.
It was just more my style. I was never really want to be an accountant or sit down. I enjoy working with my hands a lot, and just the environment of those type of people.
His dad and I are just over the moon. Actually, he's a great kid, you know, and we're very lucky.
Well, Jacob met the company during a school event. He had co-opted with them, and now with graduation, he has a full-time trade career. I think that is just the coolest thing.
I think that's absolutely awesome. I think trades are so important, or even trade schools, because there's so many jobs out there that need to be filled. So why not go ahead and pursue one of those careers?
And there's a program too in Guilford County. It's called GAP. I think it stands for Guilford Apprenticeship Program, but don't quote me on that. But what they do is they'll take kids in high school that are interested in trades and careers in trades, and they give them jobs and they learn on the job. The company trains them while they're still in high school. Same thing.
That's awesome,
and then they get out and usually have a full-time job.
That's what's up.
And I love that. And I think that sometimes people think, oh, well, they're not going to college, so they shouldn't have a signing day. And I'm like, oh no, this is a big celebration
It is,
as well.
absolutely.
This is their career path.
No, I totally agree. I mean, I think that everyone, whenever they're coming out of high school, if they're doing something or planning to do something, that they should be recognized for that. I know that my high school, they no longer just do athletes, but it's an entire day for a celebration of where all the seniors are going after school.
And you can make an honest living out of some of these trade-like careers, and there's so much room for advancement. You can own your own company, and a lot of times some people go to a four-year school and they're still trying to figure out what they want to do afterwards, and they're like, I really wish I would have picked up a skill or some type of trade instead of going to school for 4 years and spending all this money.
Yeah, you are definitely on the right track. Trade skills are in demand. Check this list out by skillworks.com. In the top 3 of needed trades, boiler makers, so that's assembling and installing the boilers, an average of $30 an hour. An electrician, you usually go to a tech school and then move into that apprenticeship that you guys were talking about. That's $27 an hour. Plumber, what Jacob is doing, earning $55,000 a year. And there's no student debt. You could possibly, like you said, own your own business one day, and you have that skill that most of us do not have.
Yes, and so we got to call on them.
That's right, all the time.
And that's straight out of high school, making 55?
I think you're probably not right at that amount, you know, straight out of high school, but like that is somewhere close to that.
That's some solid
That's
money,
amazing.
especially with a 4-year degree. Sometimes you're making less than that.
Absolutely.
And you got student debt. All right, so
Absolutely.
something to think about, friends, and something to celebrate, their graduations to career, right? We're going to be back in just a minute, but Monique, it's all on you.
And I'm talking about the heat. Hot as what I'm seeing in my Facebook chat. Everyone's saying it's hot, it's hot, it's hot, and it is. 87 is the current temperature in the Triad area. Elsewhere, we're all talking heat, whether you're in the South Carolina area or in North Carolina. It is just all blending together as some summertime heat, and that's all due to this high pressure. As long as this high pressure has been in place, we've been dry, we've been quiet, but the temperatures are starting to heat up. As the air flows around this clockwise, we get on the backside where these winds come out of the southwest, and that's really what's allowing for these temperatures to surge, especially as we go through the midweek. So tomorrow, it's going to get even warmer. The heat is certainly on. This cold front is going to change our weather as we go through the weekend. It's going to bring us some rain, but it's also going to lower the temperatures and lower the humidity as we go through your weekend. So it's going to be a beautiful weekend setup. If my clicker wants to get me to show you guys the graphic, and you guys can get to see how nice it's going to be this weekend. So Thursday staying dry, and then we're going to see some light showers and some scattered storms move through. Also keeping a very close eye down to our south as that Agatha continues to move further north. We're going to see how that tropical system continues to pan out as it moves across, and it looks like my graphics are just jumping here. I'm going to step out so you guys can see. I'm going to show you guys the 7-day and talk about it for a little bit. So the temperature is staying hot for your Wednesday, your Thursday. Thursday looks like the best chance for us to see some scattered storms across the area. Not likely for this to be severe. It seems like the severe weather threat stays to the well northeast of us, but we're looking at the potential for some storms for your Thursday. Scattered though, not everyone will get to see storms. The weekend will be cooler. You can see those 80s. I know a lot of folks are saying, I'm looking forward to that. A little bit of a break from the heat, and the humidity will also lower. So we're going to feel a big change as we go over the next couple of days. Tomorrow, the last hot day, and then after that, we're going to get cooler and right back to where we should be for this time of year. A beautiful weekend ahead for everyone across the Central Piedmont.
know, horses are known for doing things like jumping hurdles, maybe racing, but typing? Check out how marketing agents are using comedy to boost tourism in Iceland.
Nothing ruins your vacation like work.
Iceland is trotting out a new ad for people saddled with too much work.
Outhorse your email. A revolutionary service where Icelandic horses write real out-of-office replies so you can relax.
How did you come up with this ad?
For the last couple of years, we have been trying to create campaigns from Iceland which have humor in it.
Researchers at Visit Iceland found 55% of tourists check their work emails on vacation, while nearly 60% feel their bosses and clients expect quick replies.
They are trained in corporate buzzwords. Your boss will never know the difference.
You can select one of 3 specially trained horses to help you stop stalling and reply.
We received very large replica of the keyboard, so they got used to how to walk over it. I think they've been really enjoying themselves today. They've been playing along really well.
All this horseplay is designed to attract post-pandemic tourists to Iceland.
We're heading into the biggest travel summer since COVID, where we don't have a lot of restrictions.
At least 14,000 people have already ponied up for their free service.
Is it just for tourists or can anyone use it? Like, could I use it for my work emails?
This is for everyone to use.
So you don't have to be a globetrotter to just horse around.
All right, so what I like is what you should do is say, I wrote this in code, see if you can figure it out, and just send the
I don't
horses
think you can
thing.
figure that out.
That's so funny.
I don't know what that means.
Then they'll spend hours and there's no real answer.
So was this just a commercial promo, or can you actually get the horses to do this? I watched it twice and I didn't quite get that part.
I thought it was just a joke, but no.
I think you can actually do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you pick the horse?
Yeah.
This would totally make me want to go there. I mean, this is already a place that I would want to visit anyways. I mean, take a look at that scenery, but this is just like a cherry on top.
I know. I know that a lot of people are going to Iceland. Like, that's one of the most popular places to travel to right now. And I have a family friend that went, and the pictures are just, they don't look real.
But humor goes a long way. I mean,
It does.
Think about all the Super Bowl ads.
Yeah.
You know?
A lot of people just tune in for the Super Bowl for the ads. So
My wife says if a commercial makes her laugh, she'll use the product even if she doesn't really know much about it.
Okay, Leslie, looks like Eric's gonna be getting y'all some tickets to Iceland then.
You a ticket to Iceland. I'll stay right here. Although that is very funny. I love that.
This reminds me of my dog, Wrigley.
Let Wrigley
Let him go out there and
Let him
start playing with it.
All right, we'll take a break. Be right back.
Stacy's going to Iceland.
No more 3 ink.
Avery Powell, WFMY News 2. 1, 2.
Avery Powell, WFMY News 2. 1.
Hi, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland.
Okay, no. Okay.
Yeah, it's just kind of something that happened a while ago.
That was when I was like, no one ever texted.
Yes.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Avery Powell, WFMY News 2. There we go.
It's time for my 2 cents. It's been 1 week since the school shooting in Uvalde, Texas. 1 week since 19 children and 2 teachers lost their lives. 1 week of heartache, tears, anger, and calls for change. It's sad that covering mass shootings has always been a part of my job. From the Country Music Festival in Las Vegas to the Pulse nightclub in Orlando and the shooting at a grocery store in Buffalo. Those are just a few. There are way too many to list them all. I hate seeing the images of people running in fear, the injured, the gunmen, people crying and holding on to one another. I hate that I now plan out an escape route in my mind every time I'm in a crowded place. Every time a mass shooting happens, my heart breaks more. But this time I have to admit, cut much deeper. It was my first time as a parent, seeing other parents' hearts shattered, and I just lost it. I cannot bear to think about being one of those parents. And I shouldn't have to think about if my child will be safe at school. None of us should. But unfortunately, it's something that we face in 2022. I don't know what the answer is to end this, but I know I want something to be done for my daughter, for your children, and for the children of Uvalde, Texas. That's just my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.